Even though I sense your opportunistic ways, seriously, what am I gaining from this mess? And you, what exactly are you getting? Let me tell you, no rivers high enough, no oceans deep enough, no deserts hot enough to push me off your tail, honey. The second Mama Joyce dropped those words, the internet collectively froze. That wasn't just anger. That wasn't some petty shade. That was a final judgment. When a mother stares into the camera and brands her daughter's husband an opportunist, that's not feelings speaking. That's years of simmering frustration finally escaping. Something long bottled up finally hit the airwaves. And instantly, social media exploded with one question. What did Mama Joyce see that everyone else missed? Was Todd Tucker truly misunderstood? Or was he exactly the man Mama Joyce warned Kandi about from day one? For 11 grueling years, viewers watched this marriage parade itself on screen. Glamour, deals, family smiles, red carpets. But behind all that glitter, a storm was quietly brewing. Whispered remarks, tension-laden dinners, side eyes that never faded, warnings the cameras barely caught. And now that storm has erupted into a divorce, and Mama Joyce isn't whispering anymore. She's roaring. Tonight, we're not just covering a breakup. We're witnessing a warning that may have been dead on all along. Because when Mama Joyce said, "You deserve this," shock wasn't in her tone. Preparedness was. The second those words fell, nothing felt ordinary anymore. That wasn't commentary. That wasn't frustration. That was verdict-level drama. Even though I feel your opportunism, no ocean deep enough, desert hot enough to deter me. You're a baby. That wasn't a mother-in-law talking. That was a woman who had already lost something and was done with niceties. And suddenly, the long-ignored question returned with a vengeance. What had Mama Joyce seen that no one dared admit? For 11 years, viewers dismissed her as dramatic, over-involved, too emotional. But what if she wasn't wrong? What if she was ahead of her time? For over a decade, Mama Joyce had been painted as the villain of Kandi's love story, a controlling mom, jealous, unnecessary. But the divorce filing changed the optics. Suddenly, her anger looked deliberate. The tension didn't appear overnight. It had brewed on camera for years, in eyes, clipped arguments, unfiltered moments producers couldn't delete. And one of the earliest red flags came from another housewife, a close friend of Mama Joyce, who admitted something chilling. After knowing her 12 years, she was asked a simple question. Had Mama Joyce changed? Her answer, not a bit. She only got bolder. She didn't soften. She didn't apologize. She never retreated. At one point, she even called this woman directly, commanding, "Stop singing on Instagram." No apology, no excuse, just force. Because Mama Joyce never moves indirectly. She strikes directly. And when it came to Todd Tucker, she struck with heat. At one point, that heat exploded into a moment fans still replay. Mama, don't talk about his deceased father. He never knew him. If he were here, why couldn't he speak to me? You weren't here. You don't know. I know. You speak negative, my child. No denial, no hesitation, no correction. Not defensive, declarative. And suddenly, the audience got it. This wasn't dislike. This was protection. Not subtle, not quiet, loud, raw. A mother convinced her daughter was in danger and refused whispers. But Mama Joyce didn't stop at words. She escalated. "You touch that girl, I'll drag your ass up and down the street like you walk a damn block." Bravo wasn't filming drama. They filmed a threat. Primal, full attack mode. Viewers didn't laugh. They didn't clap. Shocked silence. Something in her eyes had shifted. Not rage, certainty. And that wasn't even the darkest line. No, she didn't stop at behavior. She attacked identity. One moment crossed lines so violently the room changed. She goes around and gets Kandi's leftover hair. That's what she does. Behind the scenes, Mama Joyce briefly sank lower than anyone expected, dragging Todd's family into the war. Literally. Verbal blows so personal the cast froze. Producers cut, hosts paused, viewers winced. Overnight, Mama Joyce went from protector to problem. Here's the twist few admit. People only attack personally when they believe the other isn't who they pretend to be. Mama Joyce never thought Todd was. Another brutal moment. Why would I know him better? Because I see him with her. That wasn't emotional. It was strategic, accusatory, trying to expose a man behind closed doors on camera. And yes, you could see it. Todd didn't yell, didn't escalate. He withdrew. Mama Joyce walked forward. Then came one of the cruelest lines in the series. Not shouted, not dramatic, almost casual. Let that sink. Not jealousy, not emotion, humiliation. Fans finally understood. She didn't just dislike Todd. She believed he was living through Kandi, positioning himself inside her life, wealth, platform. That takes us back to the line many ignored, but cannot escape. Quiet dismissal, loud implication, and maybe her most damaging sentence. Calculated, not emotional. Mama Joyce wasn't ranting. She was evaluating, measuring, judging. Watching the story backward, from filing to fight to first warning, you see the truth. Mama Joyce never softened, never warmed up, never changed. And her verdict? Neither did her conclusion. Todd Tucker wasn't misunderstood. In Mama Joyce's eyes, he was tolerated, watched, tested, and ultimately rejected. But buckle up, here's where it gets darker. This argument wasn't just between Mama Joyce and Todd. It was happening inside Kandi. You could hear it in her voice, her pauses, her exhausted expressions on recent streams. Something inside her had been fracturing long before the papers were signed. When the divorce went public, Mama Joyce didn't blink. She didn't gasp. She didn't cry. She simply stood still, like someone who had already mourned, already accepted, already prepared. And when headlines dropped, the words she didn't speak shouted louder than any interview. I told you. When she finally said, "You deserve this divorce," it wasn't bitter. It wasn't emotional. It sounded inevitable, like a woman who never needed closure because she already knew the truth. This marriage didn't collapse overnight. What looked sudden to the public was the last crack in something quietly fracturing for years. Even Kandi wasn't pretending otherwise. Multiple sources, including TMZ and Kandi herself, confirmed the uncomfortable truth. This divorce wasn't sudden. It had been brewing for years. Behind smiles, brand deals, and curated images, something in that marriage was quietly crumbling, structurally, not just emotionally. Friends close to the couple noted a quiet imbalance early on, growing louder over time. Todd Tucker never felt like a partner. He felt overshadowed, positioned, diminished. Old clips show him subtly expressing frustration, not with money, not with fame, but with identity. Time and again, he openly showed discomfort living constantly in Kandi's shadow, her empire, her career, her power, her name. Meanwhile, Kandi craved proximity, togetherness, constant emotional connection. Todd wanted what Kandi already had, a separate world, a separate lane, a separate identity. Quietly, distance grew. Production sources noticed the shift. They didn't fight like couples disagreeing. They fought like people already living apart emotionally, but pretending not to. Arguments weren't resolved. They were postponed. One of the deadliest ingredients? Control, not domination, but insecurity. Todd pulling back, Kandi pulling closer, Mama Joyce pushing relentlessly. Insiders say she didn't whisper her concerns privately, she addressed them directly to Todd. Worse, she repeated them to Kandi again and again. Todd was an opportunist, attached to money, benefiting more than contributing. Respect erodes, marriages crack. And when that poison pours long enough, it doesn't just stain glass, it shatters it. Then came the darker twist. Emotional distance birthed rumors, whispers, and social media speculation. One name surfaced repeatedly: Portia Williams. Accounts online, unverified but loud, hinted at off-camera closeness. No photos, no proof, just patterns fans recognized. Too familiar. The kind that makes fan bases uncomfortable before sense kicks in. As quickly as Portia appeared, another hit harder. Fatim Alfred, a friend of the show, who didn't quietly exit. Reports and gossip claimed Fatim wasn't just close to Kandi and Todd, she was involved. Photos, vacations, private circles. Fans weren't just seeing patterns, they were connecting them. Speculation exploded. Was Fatim part of the couple's sexual dynamic? Insiders called it complicated. Some said the couple's openness was misunderstood. Others said boundaries were stretched too far. When commitment becomes flexible, trust shatters. Social media turned whispers into wildfire. A threesome? Consensual? Emotional? Someone crossed a line? No confirmations, no denials, only deafening silence. And silence in scandal isn't peace. It's preparation. Then came proof. This marriage hadn't been safe for a long time. The prenuptial agreement. Sources confirmed tensions over the prenup erupted days before the wedding. Todd felt blindsided, undervalued, reduced to clauses. Kandi saw it as protection, a business boundary. But that prenup never left the room. It haunted the relationship. Love reduced to legal terms rarely survives. Years later, when tension resurfaced publicly, fans revisited early episodes. A man fighting to matter, a woman fighting not to lose control. Along the way, they stopped being a team. They became two people under one roof. Production sources confirmed, arguments weren't private. They unfolded in hallways, on set, between takes, staff watching. Their private life became content. Pain became production. In relationships, when boundaries dissolve, distance isn't the danger, exposure is. Finally, the filing. Not dramatic. Not explosive. Just done. For Kandi, it wasn't a meltdown. It was a quiet exit. Prepared, documented, sealed. Language changed. No blame, no war. Just co-parenting. Like folding a marriage into a memory no one wants to relive. Here's the truth few admit. People don't leave happy homes, they escape unbearable ones. Kandi didn't run. She walked like someone who had mourned what she lost long before the world noticed. After the papers, silence followed. Not peaceful, uncomfortable. Todd Tucker didn't rage. No statements. No victim act. He vanished. And in celebrity culture, silence is never neutral. It's strategy. Kandi spoke carefully, choosing words like brewing, time, healing. Todd said nothing. Absence became its own story. Fans split. Some saw a wounded man swallowed by a larger empire. Others saw exactly what Mama Joyce warned about. Online war was brutal. Hashtags, threads, old clips remixed. People weren't reacting to now. They were reliving the past with new eyes. Mama Joyce didn't look unhinged. She looked accurate. Footage once mocked now felt measured. Conversations once dismissed now screamed warnings. Every interview, every statement from Kandi, one uncomfortable truth became clear. Mama Joyce didn't change, the situation did, and it finally caught the marriage. Kandi admitted she had prepared for months, emotionally, mentally, legally. That's not heartbreak, it's escape. Todd's still silent. Control by absence. One withdraws, the other explains. Kandi didn't drag him, accuse, or shame. Indifference felt colder than anger. Friends whispered Todd felt invisible for years. Not unloved, but unseen. Kandi didn't just run businesses, she ran everything. Todd lost momentum in her shadow. That doesn't make him innocent, it complicates him. Isolation is an excuse for destruction. Low self-worth doesn't excuse betrayal. Fans asked, did Todd leave unhappy or to dodge accountability? No answer, only speculation. Speculation grows where clarity dies. Meanwhile, Kandi leaned into motherhood, business, distance. She once tried to make everything work. Now she sought simplicity. No messy court battles. No headlines. No revenge. Just a clean cut. And that's the dangerous kind. Marriages don't collapse in moments. They rock quietly, then fall loudly. Kids remained the stable element. Two parents navigating something once permanent, now schedules, transitions, handoffs. Fans watched with strange familiarity. Public love, private decay. Brand survived. Bond didn't. Then came the public shift. Sympathy turned. Mama Joyce wasn't questioned, she was quoted. Clips resurfaced, went viral. Lines once vicious now felt visionary. Social media burned. She tried to warn us. But here's what few admit. Mama Joyce didn't win, she outlasted. Years of screaming into a void. The collapse doesn't feel like victory. It feels like damage. Confirmed. Todd's silence grew louder each week. No interviews, no streams, no explanations. Fans imagined worse than any press could claim. Kandi moved forward. Todd disappeared backward. Out of interviews, out of relevance, maybe out of excuses. A man leaves without a story. People write it for him, and it sticks. Final twist. Not shocking, not explosive, devastating. No side plan to reveal all. No books, no podcasts, no confrontations, no scorched earth. Just two people stepping quietly away from wreckage. Silence made fans wonder, if it was so bad, why protect it? Maybe because truth is bigger than drama, ratings, or revenge. Sometimes silence isn't peace. It's because there's too much to say, no clean way to say it. They walked away individually from ruins once perfect. Mama Joyce didn't parade victory. She didn't gloat. She didn't apologize. She returned to the same place she'd always been. Unmoved, unchanged, unbothered. Asked about Todd, her face said everything. Not anger, not relief, recognition. A woman who never needed confirmation, but got it anyway. Divorce official. Mama Joyce didn't celebrate, she settled, laying down a decade-long weight. Fans replayed every moment, insult, warning, threat, and one question echoed: bitter or brutally honest? Answer depends on which hurts more, warning in time or seeing the truth too late. Think about it. How many times have you seen this story before? A couple that looked unbreakable, a family that looked solid, a marriage wrapped in money, success, image collapse in silence. Not just love, but identity, power, control, the cost of ignoring warning signs. Tonight wasn't just a divorce recap. It reminded us smiles lie, fame hides fractures, and the loudest voices are ignored until too late. Now we want you. Not hashtags truth. Was Mama Joyce toxic or tragically right? Was Todd suffocating in another shadow or hiding behind it? Is Kandi walking from a broken marriage or broken pattern? Comment your take. Not Team Kandi or Todd. Tell us why. Truth isn't slogans, it's patterns. Comments expose patterns. Tired of shallow celebrity takes avoiding real stories? Headlines that distract instead of explain? You're in the right place. Subscribe not for drama, but the real story behind it. Turn on notifications. The next breakdown is coming. What's next will make this chapter 1 look tame. This wasn't the end, it was the first time someone finally spoke out loud. Stay sharp, stay watching, and never forget the name that refused to stay silent: Mama Joyce.